Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about sum, sum if, and sum ifs. Basically the sum family formulas. In this, if you're looking at this data, this is pretty much the sales data by region. Then we have number of representatives, the sales rep who are selling certain items. These are certain stationery items that are being sold by these reps, the units, the unit cost, and the total price. Now, if you look on this screen, there's a bunch of numbers showing on the screen. Now, if I want to sum this up, this is pretty simple and this is pretty common really. Now, if you want to make a total of overall how much sales has been done for this period, see, you can do this by using the formula sum. Now here you're looking at number one, number two given there, but in this case you can actually select each and every each of these fields, press comma, second field, press comma, third field. Likewise, you can close and select and do the sum. But if you want to do the total of the whole thing, then you have to select the entire thing by dragging your mouse, right click, drag your mouse, and if you close, this becomes the total sum. This is pretty simple and this is something that most of us know how to do. But there's something called, we're gonna cover about sum if and sum if. These are two very important formula that we need to talk about. Now, I have created a summary table. Now, if you want to know that these are my five stationery items and these are my sales rep, I want to know that how much is being sold by Andrews. However, let me do one thing. Let me remove the total from here. So, if you look here, if I have to just talk about how much Andrew has made sales for this period, I can use the formula sum if. Now what sum if does is, if you look here, range and the criteria and the sum range. So what does range means? Range in this case tells you that this is the sales rep range that we are talking. I would go and select the entire range in there. Now, what is the criteria? Out of this, I just want to know how much sales has been done by Andrew. So I select Andrew. But what do I do the sum of? So I have to now select the entire total. Oops, sorry. I should not be including this yet. I'm doing the entire total now. And if I close the bracket, it just tells me the sum, the sales done by Andrew. But this is something you can use for sum if. But sum ifs is more versatile. What does sum ifs do? You may not be using sum if you are quite versatile with sum ifs. So what does sum ifs do? It gives you multiple filter option of what do you want to do. Now say for example, in this case, it talks about what is the sum range that we are talking. So I select this sum range, then I would say comma, what is my criteria range? In this, I go, first I'll take the criteria of the sales rep. So I kind of select the whole range of sales rep, give a comma there. If you see here, in this, I have to now tell which sales rep do you want the data for. So I'm going to go ahead and select Andrew in this case. But that will just tell me about Andrew's entire sale. I want to know about the second filter, which is binder in this case. So I would go ahead and select the second criteria. the criteria range, which is this column D if you look here. Now column D is now selected. Now it is telling me to select the criteria, second criteria, which is binder in this case. Now I go ahead and close it because both of my criteria has been done. And if I close here, it tells me that Andrew has made the sales of binder for the worth $139.72. However, and same thing now, the good part is, since now if you look at the range, I do not want to make any changes with the range. If I copy and paste the formula, it will not work. Region is, if I copy here, what it does is it moves the ranges as well. So I have to lock down the ranges in this case. So I'm going to undo it, go ahead and make some alteration in the formula. In this formula, I'm using F4 to block my range. I do not want to change my range at all. Second, this is my sum range. Then second is my reps, sales rep range, which I do not want to. If you press F4, it locks down the range completely. Now, what I need to do is, I know that if I need to lock Andrew as well, because I do not want the cell from Andrew to keep moving to right. So I have to kind of lock the right horizontal movement. For that, if I put the dollar sign before I, then it locks down the horizontal movement. Okay. So if I keep moving on the right, Andrew still gets tagged here. But if I go down, still it will go to Jill, Jordan, everyone will take, yeah? Now in this case, now this is binder. I do not want binder to move to the right. Sorry, I want the binder to move to the right, but I don't want it to move vertical. So what I'm going to do in this case is I'm going to lock the vertical movement, right? For that, I am going to lock it down in the middle. Now, let's see what happens. Now, if I do this, if you look here, the ranges are all okay. Andrew is still okay. Only the desk moves, which means I want the sales of desk under Andrew to be shown. Probably there's no sales of desk for Andrew in there, so it is just showing blank. So I do not need to do this for each of. Now I'm gonna copy this formula to all the cells, and it will automatically populate the right values against each of these cells represented by their sales item. So I'm going to go ahead and paste this. Now, if you look here, it is telling you all the various numbers against all the sales representative filtered by their items they have sold. Now, here I can pretty much use the formula sum. This is going to be just there, and I kind of pull this all the way down. Now, to validate whether this has been done correctly, I can go ahead and, sorry, this automatically, the feature it tries to identify. So I'm gonna go ahead and do the sum for binder. What is my sales for the period, the entire for the binder? Go ahead and do the same thing. Let me expand this column. Same thing here. Mhm. Now I can do the total from horizontal or from the vertical. It will exactly give me the same thing. This value is the total by sales rep, and this value is the total by the each item. I can pretty much do it from either ways. So I go ahead and kind of just do the total of this together, and you see it would match this number really. It's a decimal rounding up happening here, so I'm gonna go ahead and show the exact thing. Oops, I should be selecting this really. Yeah. Now, if I go ahead and press the whole thing, you would see the number is showing up. 19,627.88. 19,627.88. This is how we can use SUMIFS. Now, SUMIFS is really important if you are making a live summary. If you are making a summary, uh, this pretty much people may have questions that you can do it through pivot tables, but pivot tables do not refresh on its own, and you do not have the data ready all the time. So you have to refresh, you have to check if you have selected, unselected some options, and you really don't have this in a more tabular form. So this is another way of doing it, and this is where some if and some ifs come